think we can see how some of these creature comforts have crept into our life and now it becomes our baseline. I don't have to be comfortable or uncomfortable all the time, but statistics show it affects our ability to deal with hard things. If we can't deal with a small discomfort, our ability to handle those bigger bumps in life become less effective.
Welcome to Lead Like a Girl, where we are empowering everyday women through our stories. I'm your host, Jessica Smith, and I began this journey by sharing my life story. Now, I've joined forces with my longtime friends, Jamie and Coralyn, to keep this party going. We met many years ago as young sales girls in our 20s, driven and quickly rising to the top of our industry. As the years went on, life happened, and we all found ourselves in new companies and completely different industries, still striving for success in it all. Career, family, faith, fun. Now, it wasn't easy, but we never stopped moving. Get ready for our real conversations, inspiring stories, and our big life lessons as we share it all. The good, the bad, and the funny. Welcome to Lead Like a Girl. I'm done.
I don't know. All right. Welcome to another episode of Lead Like a Girl. I am Coralyn, your host today with my two besties, Jessica and Jamie. Ladies, you are looking great. Our listeners do not know this, but this is probably our fifth round at trying to record this single episode because we have had a crazy, crazy week, but I'm so glad to see you. This is Sunday after church, and so we're bringing it in full force. We've got lots of powers in our corner helping us get this episode. Today. Real quick, how are you guys doing this Sunday afternoon?
Fabulous, just as I'm here.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad.
I'm so glad you're fabulous.
Because I heard your voice earlier and nah.
I'm better.
Jessica was not feeling well earlier.
Jessica sent us a voice text and she sounded like a sailor that had been at sea for 19 years, smoking 12 cigarettes an hour, something like that. Like picture that. She was not feeling good. Yeah. All right. So we're going to dive into our episode. And this episode actually was spurred on by, I had just saw a TikTok of some mom talking about comfort, how we try so hard to get rid of all the discomfort in our life that statistically we are making ourselves weak. Like just came out and said it. And as she was talking, I just thought about one of the things my husband, so he was a youth pastor for a long time, but he would always talk to our youth group kids about God didn't promise an easy life, and you only can grow when you're uncomfortable. So doing hard things is hard in the moment, but it's going to make you better in the long run. So I did a little research and talked about that there is actually a movement of the uncomfortableness of life. And so that's actually what I want to talk about. So as we were going through this conversation, listeners, I want you to think, like, when was the last time that you were actually truly uncomfortable, that you were just, and not just like I have cold feet or something like that, but literally pushed yourself out of your comfort zone and went through the hard thing on purpose to do the hard thing. Okay.
Yesterday. Yes. I wasn't supposed to answer. Please go on.
No, go. What did you do yesterday?
So actually it was Friday. I'm sorry. I called I guess it's my boss's boss, and had like a really frank conversation with her where I'm asking her, like, what do you see as my future and with this company? And what are the opportunities that I could have? And please guide me in like what I need to work on. Which is like a very uncomfortable, it can be a very uncomfortable, depending on the person, of course, conversation of like, can you just give me some feedback on where you see me going with this company? And that was, I had to psych myself
you don't know what
up
they're
for
going to say.
And it's not my boss. It's my boss's boss. Like it's like,
we call that a skip level.
A skip level. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That was uncomfortable, but I have to make some decisions. I want to know what's going on. I don't want to wait and find out. I don't like the surprise. I want to have a path. I want to know what I'm working towards, and I want to know what my opportunities are going to be. So yeah, that was just Friday. I didn't even tell you guys about that.
No. And that's good because
awesome.
It's
well,
hard
it's
to
good
get
to have
nowadays.
that well, it's good to one, just even be bold enough to have that conversation, but then also be uncomfortable to hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
Where can I grow?
Yeah.
Sometimes that's a hard conversation.
What do you see? Like, where do you see me? Like, essentially, like, tell me where my weak points are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you had a choice. So you put yourself out there to be uncomfortable. I don't know what it's like to be comfortable. So I think I'm a little bit of an extreme case.
You're going to teach us a lot then today.
But it's not on purpose. I mean, I can't even take credit for it. There's a lot of things, and I'll try to make this story short. But when I was out in Vegas at this automotive industry event, and it was a big event, I'm in the room. I noticed a woman that was just looking really uncomfortable, and my spirit just kept nudging me to go up to her and ask her to pray with her. I'm here networking. I'm here trying to build a brand. I'm here and I'm saying to myself, and I want to be known as this crazy, weirdo, spooky lady walking up to people, asking them to pray with them, like the Jehovah Witnesses on nothing wrong with Jehovah Witnesses knocking on your door on Saturday. Nothing wrong with them. But anyway, long story short, it just kept really nudging me, and I was uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable that I was getting this nudge. I was uncomfortable that I call myself a Christian and I did not want to do it. And then it was uncomfortable having to go up to her and say, "Hey, do you mind if I pray with you?" Very uncomfortable, but I'm glad that I did, and she really appreciated it. And she was uncomfortable. She wasn't feeling well. And then she reported later that she was having some breathing issues and some other things. And she was like, and it went away and I'm good. So anyway, that just came to mind because there's not a lot of things that I won't say, but I was uncomfortable and I didn't want to do it. And I did it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that as a people, we are growing towards having this obsession with convenience, with doing things the absolute most efficient way. And not like when we feel discomfort, we want to be out of that space as fast as possible. And so I want to kick off our conversation. We haven't done this in a while, but I have a little this or that to see how uncomfortable that you guys get. So you tell me if you do these things, and you can comment as you want to, but let's talk about grocery shopping. Do you go grocery shopping or do you have it delivered?
Grocery shopping. Never had groceries delivered in my entire life.
Grocery shopping is one of my favorite things to do.
Wow, that's a trifecta. I love grocery shopping. Like walking through the store and letting the food speak to me is.
I remember when I was.
I expected that from Jamie Core.
I've never done pick up my groceries ever.
Never either.
Never.
Actually, so when I had those things delivered to your house, was that the first grocery delivery?
I'm like, why does this guy have bags of groceries at my door?
I've had the wrong groceries delivered. I mean, the groceries delivered to the wrong door, and it was mine.
I love when the kids were really little. That was like my escape. I was like, you know what? I'll go to the grocery store. Like I can just walk through the aisles and like plan dinner and like with no children. It was so great.
How about this? Heated seats or remote start in your car versus walking out to start your car?
Oh, girl. Well, this one doesn't need a remote. Doesn't need one.
For those of you that live in the warmer climates.
I had.
What about air conditioning? You ever start your car with an air conditioner running when you get there?
No.
So both heat or air conditioner?
Yeah, I'm not doing all that.
I'm in Iowa, right? So, I mean, winter is like you got to scrape your car like every day and there's always snow on it. And I had a work vehicle and I had that vehicle for not even kidding you, 5 months probably. And then all of a sudden my supervisor was like, well, you have a remote start on your phone. You can just push a button. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? I've been walking outside in my pajamas with my boots on before I get dressed. Like get the thing started. That is really nice. The remote start is a pretty awesome in the Midwest, I have to say.
I am 1,000% remote starter. When I first got it, I have had my car stop because it was running for so long. There's a mechanism in there that if you keep it running for so long, clearly you forgot about it and it just shuts off. So then it's cold. So I already So whatever that timer is. So I've gotten better about that it's literally 5 minutes just to take a little bit of the edge off. But the heated seats thing is next level comfort. Being in a car where you can turn your seats on when it's 0 degrees outside is such a comfort.
Yeah.
I've never had them, so I don't know.
I was going to say, I even in Chicago, I didn't have a remote start. If I had it, maybe I would use it. The heated seats, always had them and definitely used them because I'm always cold.
But here's the other thing. I was in a rental car not that long ago, and they have cooling. So it's like air conditioned for your butt. Mm-hmm. And that is also very, very nice. It's super nice. Okay, how about this
I think I need a new car. I don't know. Now that we're having this conversation, it's like, I don't have any of that
Jamie
stuff.
just sits on an ice cube when it's 95 degrees outside, and that's her cooling seats.
Right.
Coffee. Do you brew your coffee at home, or do you go to Starbucks or a coffee shop?
Totally. I prefer my coffee at home. I do go to Starbucks, but it's occasionally, and I just really prefer because I don't know. I just prefer it. Starbucks stuff is just, you don't have any control over how they make it and sweet and all that. So, yeah.
I think so when you brought up this topic, I felt like I do everything the hard way, but
on purpose?
Grammy,
like
Jamie actually grows her own.
I grow my own beans and then I roast them.
She actually has a
It's
coffee
fine.
bean
It's
tree in
all
her
fine.
yard.
No, but like I use like a French press, which means I have to grind my beans and put them in there. And then I have to boil water and then put that in there. And then I have to wait like 5 minutes and then I press it and then I have my coffee. Like, it's
I did
like
not know that. Yeah, see, I'm out on
I do
that
it the
one.
hardest way.
Right. The longest way.
Yeah, it's
I
ridiculous.
actually
Really
grind my
patient.
beans, but French press is not my jam. I feel like
It's
it's
so
messy.
much work. It's a lot of work.
But I do
don't know.
grind my own beans.
It tastes good.
Okay, last one. This is in terms of the thermostat at your house. When it gets too hot or too cold at the beginning of the season, how quick are you to turn either your air on or your heat on?
Quick.
No.
So when it gets too hot, Jess, at what point do you turn your air on?
Right away. See, I grew up with sisters that they're just cheap or frugal, however you want to say it. And they will freeze your ass out in Chicago. You go to their house in December, I kid you not. And so I don't play that. I do not want to be uncomfortable in my own home because of spending a couple bucks. No, I need to be comfortable.
It's not even about like the money part of it. Like I just hold out.
But
Like,
there's a
as long
reason.
as
What's the reason?
It's like, well, for example, today it's 65 degrees here and I have the window open right next to me because I want the fresh air.
Okay.
And this weekend, it's so funny that you brought this up because this week my sister was visiting from Orlando this weekend and she's just freezing. She's freezing.
For sure.
Oh my gosh. My house is like, 70 degrees or something. I don't have the air on. I don't have the heat on. I don't have anything on. It's just like we had windows open and whatever. And last night we got back and the house was 60 degrees. And I'm like, I told Brad, I'm like, I think we need to kick the furnace on for just like a little bit. Cause I'm like, my sister's going to come in this house and just be so uncomfortable. So we did do that for her. But like, I would have held out until like November.
But I still need to know the why. November.
Because I love to like throw on a sweater and put my slippers on and I'm fine. And I used to work so as far as like the heat goes, when I worked in an office, they always have it so freaking cold. I'm like, I don't want to be inside with a sweater on in the middle of August because you're keeping the office so cold. So I want to feel summer. Like I want to.
So you're legit comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look at me.
That's why
Yeah. No, I'm fine with it, but I like the change. I like the changes of seasons and like, I just like try to adapt, but it's really not about like the price of things. It's more about like almost like that challenge of like how long can I hold out?
Yeah. Right.
I'm totally in the same boat as Jamie that I wait to turn the heat on until we're freezing. And then my mom will come down and she's wondering why the thermostat is set at like 62 degrees and she's freezing. And I remind her that when I was younger, my mom, when I had asked, like, we need to turn the heat up, and she's like, put some clothes on. You're walking around in a tank top and shorts in the middle of winter, throw a sweatshirt on. And so I look at her with the same tone and say, Mom, put a sweatshirt on.
Yeah. Here's a blanket,
back
Mom.
then, what was it about? It was about money. It was about money.
Probably that, yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not about not having it. I can have millions. And my mindset is if I can save by something that doesn't make sense to do, then I'm still going to save even if I have millions in the bank. I'm not going to be wasting money.
Yeah. So I think we don't all force ourselves to do the hard thing or the easy thing, but I think we can see how some of these creature comforts have crept into our life and now it becomes our baseline. This is the way it should be. So if something changes, it kind of disrupts our normal flow. And I would say it's not like we don't have to be comfortable or uncomfortable all the time, but when it becomes part of our natural, statistics show it affects our ability to deal with hard things. If we can't deal with the small discomfort, our ability to handle those bigger bumps in life become less effective. Right. And so I want to talk about why it isn't always our friend. So I want to just talk about for a little bit. Think of a time that you went through something hard, that you trained for something, that you started a new job, like whatever hard thing you did. How did going through that experience change you for the better? Or did it? I guess maybe it didn't.
Well, I'll use the example that I use a lot. And I know that it even prepared me for right now because when the job went away in 2016, it wasn't just a job going away, right? Like we all know, I was absolutely devastated. And I feel like that whole season of, a hardship, financial, emotionally, like the whole thing was like losing your family for me. And all of that, as hard as it was, I'm grateful that it prepared me for the season that I'm in now. I mean, when I look back and I compare the two, for me, this time it was really just a job. I didn't absolutely love anything about what I've been doing over the last 8 years other than, the people. It was a real struggle. Whereas those 20 years was pure joy, and doesn't mean it was easy, but I enjoyed it. And so I think that's just an example of that hard time prepared me. Not that this has been easy, but it's been a heck of a lot easier because I went through that in 2016.
Learned a lot of, you experienced that hard time. So now when you experience the hard time again, I've been through this and I got through it. Yeah.
Yeah. And this isn't half as bad as that. So I built resiliency.
Yeah. When you first started talking about like doing things that are hard on purpose, when you brought up like doing hard things on purpose and how do you learn? My mind went straight to camping. Like, why do people? Because I was thinking, because my sister,
I have a house I could stay in.
I know. Why are you on purpose gonna go sleep outside when you could?
I think that's exactly how I feel about
it. I don't know why. That's just like the first thing in my head was like, yeah, camping. Like, why do people go camp? I mean, I love camping, but
I was gonna say, but there's people that enjoy it. Yeah.
But last night we were talking about it. My sister's like, oh heck no, like nah. Right. And I was thinking like, I can camp in my yard. Like I have a place I could walk outside, and it's the same thing as camping. But yeah, like comedic relief. But I was like, it's like, why do you do that to yourself? Yeah. When I moved to North Carolina, this was like 15 years ago, and probably more than that actually. My daughters were really young, and we bought a farm with a big farmhouse that we had to renovate the whole entire thing. And first of all, I'm going to tell you how long this took place at the end, but like all my clothes were in a suitcase. I slept on an air mattress. I had to drive 45 minutes every morning to drop all 3 girls off at school. I had to go park in the Home Depot parking lot to use their internet to work. And then as soon as 9 o'clock rolled around, I would go to the public library. Me and the unhomed people would be waiting at 9 o'clock in the morning to get into the public library, because so I could get internet, so I could sit at a desk and like work. And then I'd pick up the kids, and then I'd drive back 45 minutes. And I did that 5 days a week, every week. And every single weekend, I had to figure out, how am I going to cook at this property? Because again, being renovated, there's like nothing there. So I had to plan all the food.
Outside.
Oh my gosh. We had a shed with a wood burner in it. So I would come in the winter, I would pick Sophie up from preschool, build a fire.
Oh my gosh, Jamie.
And then sit on a camping chair. And I had a camping mattress that Sophie would take her little nap on because she was like in preschool. And I would work for the rest of the afternoon. And then I go pick up the other 2, whatever. 2 years. I did that for 2 years.
Can we get her on one of those Survivor shows?
I know.
What are the one places? Can
So
we get some money out of this?
Isn't that
training?
insane? But then, we renovated this whole house and it was done. It was great. It was an awesome farm and whatever. And so like when I was at my the house previous to this one, I had a power surge, and so my dishwasher broke, my stove broke, like because it whatever happens to the electrical system in those, like
they blew up
internally. And again, I couldn't cook anything on the stove in the house, so I cooked every meal outside on the grill. I had one I had a crock pot, and I had the grill, and then I had like this one burner. A year and a half I did that. And like I was thinking about it when we were talking about this topic, and I'm just like, I mean, obviously I was comfortable with that because I was like, dude, I had cook on the freaking fire for like how many years. But it's also kind of like, what? My mom kept saying, just go buy a stupid stove. Like, why are you doing this to yourself? But it's almost like internally, it's like I wanted it's like the challenge, and I was like, I did that. Like I could still feed my family, even though I would.
And that's why we're in this circle, because you're the same special type of
right.
That's what that
special type.
I know, but I think that that's like a little bit of a part of like maybe the opposite, really, of when we're talking about our creature comforts, where you're like, ooh, I have this like challenging situation. Can I get through that? Like, can I actually like make this work? And when you do, you're just like, I rock, Yeah.
Did you think of it as doing the hard thing in the moment, or this is just life? And looking back on it, you could say, I can't believe I did all those things, but until you get through it, oh, that was actually a really hard thing. But in the moment, I feel like knowing you, this is just life. Like I'm just doing this thing.
This is like a hiccup in life, and I'm just going to figure out a way to get through it. Literally,
yeah, but she did say she's intentionally playing this sick little head game, and those are my words.
True.
But, so it is a sick little head game. And think about the same thing. Like if you have a goal for working out, like let's say you're like, I'm gonna climb a mountain, or I'm gonna run a half marathon, or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's not easy, and it's not fun, and it's hard on your body, and it's hard to do. So like, but we do it though,
mm-hmm.
right? Like
Yeah, I think what that makes me think of is when I had bought my first house when I was 22 years old, off of the encouragement of my dad, actually, that he had said to me at some point, he had owned a couple rental properties, and he had said, if you can make it work, it makes way more sense to just let's figure out how to buy a house versus pay rent to somebody. And I had been watching a little bit of Bob Vila. My dad, every Sunday when we'd go over to his house, he'd have like Bob Vila in the background. So I think it was a little bit of like programming in the like subconscious programming, like, yeah, I think I could do this, whatever. Well, so I had bought not just a house, but I bought a duplex as my first property, and I had a renter, and within the first year, the toilet upstairs was leaking into the basement. And so I got a call from the renter saying that the ceiling's broken, or the ceiling's leaking. And so I go down there, call a plumber to fix the toilet. Well, then I've got this bathroom downstairs that has a giant hole in the ceiling. And I feel like I look at it and I thought, I think I can figure that out. And so I had connected with a handyman, and I had called him and I had said, hey, do you think you could help me, but like teach me how to do this? And so the end of the story is that he comes over and he's like, oh yeah, this is easy. You can totally do this, and showed me how to do it. And so we ended up patching this hole, retexturizing the ceiling, and all of that. And I think all that to say is I feel like I totally could have hired that out. Right. Totally fine. But just taking the steps and saying just that little bit of like, I think I can do this. And you get some help, or watch a YouTube, or do whatever. That is kind of set the stage of a lot of the home improvement stuff that I've self-taught taught myself how to do, because I can figure this out, and I'll watch a YouTube or do something. And obviously it saves money to do it yourself. But I also, out of all those different things that I've done being a property manager, that it gives me confidence for the next hard thing. So the drywall was a little thing. I've fixed our dryer before, fixed our stove. Like, it's just like these next things that you can just kind of, and I bring it to like just to the point where I think maybe I'll actually break something or hurt myself, and then we hire it out. But it's just those little inches that you can take to give yourself that confidence to move forward.
I'm always impressed with stories like that. I hope Will does not listen to this episode. But this is an example.
We all have our giftings.
Right.
Yeah.
This is an example that is not the same. But so in our house, we have a dishwasher. And we know that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Is that a person or a machine?
I know. I was like, that's not your name, right? You're not the dishwasher.
No. Well, but this is the way it works.
You're not referring to yourself.
No, in our house, we have a dishwasher, and I am the only person, or Will, that's allowed to run the dishwasher. Okay. So I run the dishwasher maybe once a week. The daily rule, and you guys can call me anytime, any day and say, take the phone, let me see your sink. You are not going to find a fork, a cup, a spoon, or any sort. So you are not allowed to use our dishwasher. If you make a plate, you wash a plate. Every man for themselves, and you have to hand wash. The reason that rule is in place is for discipline. It's to instill discipline, and not just in children. That's everyone. Even if you're a guest, you need to wash your dish. Maybe this will be the only discipline you have for the week, and I want to be able to gift you with that. So you are not allowed to use the dishwasher.
You with that.
You're not allowed to use a dishwasher. So that's an example of something that we do in our house every day that is a hard thing to do. You have a dishwasher. Most people will be like, well, just put it in the dishwasher, but you are required to wash dishes. And I want my kids to know how to wash dishes. I mean, it's something so simple, and I hate to break it to you, but a lot of people don't know how to wash dishes because they grew up with a dishwasher. Something so basic like wash a dish, they don't know how to properly do. And to me, that is sad. If you can't wash a dish, you can't run a company. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, with the power surge, our dishwasher was broken for like that year and a half as well. So we did dishes, and finally, Brad last year for Christmas bought me a new dishwasher. And I don't even really care, but my daughter was just like,
he's like, can you please jump into this decade, this century, please?
I know. My daughter was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I think it was more for her than me. It was like,
yeah.
But
I didn't have a dishwasher for a long time. And actually, until I got married, I moved into a house with a dishwasher, but through our childhood and all the houses that I've lived in since then, I didn't have a dishwasher until I got married.
Yeah. It's good work. Good work. I can point out people who washed dishes growing up in a room versus not. Seriously.
That's funny. So listen, you know me, I always like to give you a little bit of stats that'll take away a little learning opportunity. So I want to tell you this. So this book that I researched, it's called The Comfort Crisis. It's by Michael Easter. And so he gives us a few things about talking about why discomfort matters. And he says in this book that our brains are wired to adapt. Stress plus recovery equals growth. Right.
Yes.
And through this book, he talks about how just a little stress creates strength. And we've talked about that a lot, but a couple things that he talks about this, and let me know what you guys think about this. He said, so even like when we force ourselves to cold, so no heated seats, cold exposure triggers brown fat activation, boosts metabolism, and teaches the body to regulate stress. So by turning on our car starters and heating our seats, we're doing our body a disservice to not regulate from the cold by itself. And so even like, Jamie, you're shaking your head. Does that sound?
Yeah. Is that I read like the same behind those cold plunge things?
Yeah. It's like 30 seconds, like kickstarts your brown fat. Yeah. I read the same thing.
People have asked me to try that. I'm like, I don't know about that, but yeah.
I mean, so maybe that's what we need to do. That's stop doing the heated seats, and you're going to get a workout just freezing your tail off, waiting for your car to start up.
If it burns calories, I'm in.
But I think activating your brown fat, which just sounds completely disgusting.
Yeah, let's get rid of activating fat, actually.
It doesn't have to be brown.
It's got to be brown. Yeah.
I know. Where's the brown fat?
All my fat is brown.
Jessica, so fasting improves insulin sensitivity and focus. So talk to us about fasting, doing that hard thing. That is a part of your lifestyle. How does fasting help us?
That's a good one. And I'm going to, I can't remove the spiritual part of it, but again, it's just about discipline. And I think, it used to be like once a year in January, how we kicked off a year. And now I've started doing it like more times because I've had, more things come up. And not to get into a sermon, but God's word says there are some things that cannot, it's not a suggestion. It cannot be done outside of prayer and fasting. So I try to make that as part of a discipline. Also, coming from growing up with a food addiction, that's also a big deal too. It is important that we go through periods without something that you may have had an issue with before. And even if you don't, I mean, there's times where I'm like, okay, I don't even have to intentionally say I'm not going to drink for 30 days. It just doesn't happen. And I have to say, wait a minute, I need a glass of wine. I haven't had a drink in like 32 days. But food is something that we feel we have to have every day. You don't get to just sustain from eating always. So when you have a history of having a bad relationship with food, it's important to say, okay, I can discipline myself and do something really hard, like not eat for a day or just drink water. And I know it may sound like it's not a long time, but I challenge anyone to try it if you haven't already, just for the purpose of discipline, nothing to do with anything else. And you'll see that it ain't easy. It's not easy.
Yeah. And that works for anything that you feel like you have a compulsion towards, or you do things mindlessly. I'll tell you a quick story. Is at the beginning of summer, I had made a suggestion. It wasn't even a thing, just thinking out loud. Wouldn't it be great to have a screen-free summer? And I get home from a business meeting and my darling husband put our TV in the basement, out of our living room, picked it up, got a friend, and brought it downstairs in a spare bedroom. And I walked in and I like softcore rage. I'll be honest. I just thought the first thing out of my mouth was like, I got a couple of shows that I'm watching. He said, you said you wanted to have a screen-free summer. And I thought that was a good idea. I was like, I was just thinking out loud.
Right.
And so fast forward, so it hasn't been screen-free, but moving the TV out of our living room space and into a space downstairs where we have to be intentional. Like, hey, do you guys want to watch a family movie? And so we decide as a family, we're going to watch this and we're going downstairs. It has cut our TV watching. And not that we watch like a ton of TV, but it has watched the amount of TV that we just, or like my son getting up in the morning and clicking the TV on just to have something on, you know, so
it's there.
Doing those things and taking a break from those things that you kind of do every day. And it doesn't even have to be an addiction, but just checking yourself and just creating a new walk through life. It's great. It's good.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I'll just add this to the end of this little section. This is it. So he says in his book, this is a quote. He says, humans did not evolve for comfort. We evolved for survival in an uncomfortable world. And I thought that was really good. It's just the world isn't made for comfort. Like it never was. But if we try to eliminate all those things that cause pain, we are going to flatline. And it's not going to be how we grow. And I think that happens internally and externally too. Okay. So last thing I want to talk about, guys, is, okay, how do we step into healthy discomfort? Like we don't want to go from 0 to 1,000. Like, okay, I'm just going to cut off all these different things. But what do you think? How do we baby step into this? Or what are your tips on how to move into this discomfort in a good way?
How do you eat an elephant?
That's my favorite.
That's a good one.
Say it for the people in the back.
How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And that's my approach to everything. Also, I love this one, reverse engineer. You want to start with the end in mind and then reverse engineer, and really just, you have to start somewhere. And don't do this if, I don't care what day of the week you're listening to this, start today. Like this is how I failed with weight loss so many times. I'm going to start on Monday. It didn't matter what the day was. If it was Monday, next Monday. I'm going to start on Monday.
Today's today. Labor Day, so it's not really Monday.
Right. It's a vacation. Yeah.
Start today. Pick one thing. Something that, you are really comfortable with, comfortable doing, comfortable not doing, whatever it is. And, I always say too, and I'll use TV just because I've had my moments where I'll get back into it, but overall I don't watch TV. I really have to ask myself, everything for me is an investment, and especially my time. So I always ask, like, what's my ROI? That's what I'm always asking myself. What's my ROI? And there is an ROI on TV, by the way. And I learned that, with watching some shows that really made me feel good. And I thought, I can be an ROI, but you got to be careful because just like anything, it's too much. So start with one thing, ask yourself your ROI, and just kind of mix it up a little bit. Because I think that's what happens is we get in our routine, and that's where the comfort comes in, and we don't want change because we're creatures of habit, right? purposely, intentionally mix it up one little thing at a time. That's what I got.
That's related to what I was thinking, like even before we had this recording, because I remember seeing a motivational speaker in Coralyn. I think you might have been there. I can't remember his name. He was a real estate.
Was I the speaker?
It was from our previous company, and he was a real estate agent, and he was talking about the value of your time. And he basically explained, like, I know how much my time is worth. He's like, I have a monetary value for how much time my time is worth. And he brought up just a really quick example where he said, it takes an hour to mow my lawn. He goes, I know how much an hour of my time costs. He said, I can hire the neighbor kid and he can mow my lawn for an hour, and it's going to cost 1/8 of the amount of money that it cost me to mow my lawn for an hour. But he said, but I do mow my lawn because I enjoy it. So he's like, with all these different tasks that we have and all these different creature comforts, that we have, take that into consideration. Is it, number one, is your time worth more doing something else and hiring that out? Let's say hiring that out. Or do you get enjoyment from that? And is it worth your time? And I was thinking about that. I wish I could remember his name because he was a really good speaker, but that was just something I started thinking about in terms of, when we're talking about being comfortable and we're talking about, I have a cleaning lady, or I have heated seats, or I have this, or I've got a stove that works. Just figuring out.
I have lights.
Wow. We don't live like the Amish today, but like, but just like, kind of like, yeah, like take yourself aback and make that decision of like, A, is it worth my time? Or B, am I getting like so much value out of it that yes, it is, is it or is it not worth my time because of either the enjoyment I get out of it or the stress relief I get out of it versus that comfort.
Yeah. And even though that example, Jamie, because I was thinking about this when you were saying this is going back probably 25 years ago. And that example is more relevant and more powerful today than it was even back 25 years ago when you heard it live.
A easy way, we've talked about this in a lot of different changes, just starting really small. Some of the things I do that make life easy. Now, I work for a company that manufactures elevators, but what if you took the stairs? What if you skip that? I think that what if you took a shower, like we talked about being cold, and the last 30 seconds of your shower, you turned it to cold and just let that. Yeah, I've done that before.
30 seconds. Yeesh.
Or the first 30 seconds. That might be level 2. Warm up to warm down. My husband is I told you this, he's like all over cold plunge. We have a cold plunge in our backyard. And so he is totally drinking that Kool-Aid. And I have never went in that thing because I hate being cold with a passion. But I have honestly done the shower thing. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to fully submerge myself in this tub, but I'll do 30 seconds in the shower. And it does feel like a small win. Like, okay, I'm not going to do the big thing, but a little win gets me going. Or, or like social media, we all have that tendency to doom scroll. Like just fast from it for a day or a night or something like that. Just take those intentional steps. Ladies, this has been a fantastic conversation. So like, is it important for us to be uncomfortable is the end of the story.
Get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's
growth.
That's the takeaway. Yeah, that's growth. That's growth. And unless you're okay with just staying and not growing and just, wow.
I mean, I feel like none of us are status quo people, and I don't think I would have a feeling a lot of our listeners aren't or do not want to be status quo. So it's growth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And don't wait till the new year to start. That's going to be my New Year's resolution. No, start today.
It's going to be your now resolution.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
By the new year, you could be on to something else, another goal.
Hey, we're wrapping up in 5 minutes, so we should just start right now. All right. So I guess the question that I have for our listeners is, where in your life are you avoiding discomfort, and where can you take a small step to be uncomfortable for a little bit to help grow? So let us know. We are all over social media, so please reach out to us. And if you haven't liked us or shared or subscribed, we are on all the places that you find podcasts: Spotify, Apple, iPod, iTunes. Where are we? Apple Podcasts. Just Apple. Just find us. Steve Jobs loves us. That might be
we know for sure.
He also is not alive right now.
Right, that he
not
alive.
funny. This is not how I want to end this conversation. But like, share, and subscribe us. We'd love to hear from you. We've gotten some great conversations. If you're on YouTube, you can see a little snippet of Jamie's dog.
And Coralyn, can you give us a little snippet of our next episode and what that's going to be about?
Yeah. Hey.
Yeah, we came up with this just right before this conversation. Our next episode we're talking about is how to live in service. And a lot of times it came out of this, like, serving other people is uncomfortable, but it is good for your mind. It's good for your body. It's good for living in connection with other people. So stay tuned for that episode. It's going to be a heartwarming conversation on how we serve, how we invite you to serve, and how you can encourage other people. All right, that's all I got. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Hey, this is Coralyn coming at you at the end of our episode. I realized while I was editing this recent episode that we have a lot of B-roll at the beginning, and Jamie and Jessica are always like, Coralyn, we need to keep that in our podcast, and I always edit it out. So we're trying something new. Please stay tuned. You'll hear a little bit of our chit chat at the beginning before we push record and before we play to see what are some of those things we talk about before the live episode goes. So stay tuned. Let us know what you think and tell me if you listened all the way through.
I just said, does anybody got like one big thing that they want to share?
And Coralyn, what do you have going on?
I have my big talk on Friday.
I love
Super excited. I've been practicing it so much.
I was
my
just about to
of
say,
6 up the wazoo.
Practice?
Oh, I love it.
Yep.
So that's awesome. That's so awesome.
Who have you been practicing it with, by the way?
Just myself, but out loud, like in a room.
So
I will. I've got a several weeks, so I'll have an audience sometime this week, like just like give it to somebody. But I usually, even when I did my TED Talk, like I'm a really good visualizer, so I vision like I'm standing in front of an audience and practice like making eye contact with the 3 people in the audience. So I'm very much like a creature of habit, like practice for the big performance. But
but you don't visualize everybody in the audience naked, right?
I don't even
know why that's
that.
a thing. Why is that a thing?
Because people are weirdo freaking creepos.
Like, I feel like that would be so incredibly distracting. I would have a hard time not making jokes about everybody. Like, it just like why?
Hey, polka dots today, sir.
Yeah, right? Like
whatever.
Yeah, Jamie, what you got?
So I just connected with someone and signed up to teach. Signed up for the training to teach a course for this organization called Friends of Family, and it's for people who are essentially like displaced. Maybe it's because of domestic violence, maybe it's because of just like homelessness, whatever it is. And it's a course that I can teach them where we essentially teach them how to be a renter. Like, here's how you read through a rental contract. Here's what you're going to need to have in order to be chosen to be a renter. Yeah. And so I'm like kind of geeked out, excited about it. Cause I like, it seems like a great cause. Like always for my whole life, I've wanted to figure out a way to help domestic violence folks, victims of domestic. Wow. Can I talk this morning? Victims of domestic violence.
I don't know, but you sound good.
But yeah, so I just signed up to start being part of that organization, and they help 23 counties in northeastern Iowa, and I'll be going, a couple times a week to help teach these folks how to, get to the next step in their life. So I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, me too, because that also aligns with my vision of second chance communities. So you one day will be teaching in our communities as well. So thank you for being more prepared for that.
It's
thank you in advance for your services.
Like Brad always jokes with me because I'm like, it's all part of the master plan. It's like that's
our
we're heading towards the lanai. That's what's happening.
Exactly.
Everything is all part of the master plan. It's the
and maybe the lanai is actually on the river in Iowa. Maybe that's where our lanai is.
No, I'm sorry.
Girl, you haven't been here yet, so shut your face.
No. I am not poo-pooing on the river. I'm not.
You don't want to. You don't want to retire in Iowa. I got understand.
Right. It's not the lanai. The lanai is called the lanai for a reason.
But the lanai is
Sorry.
Is that you, Jessica?
No. So I wanted to
you have a little yapper.
We can get back on track here, but the pastor said something today. How did he say it? He said that we are brought out of something for something, and service is. Now I got to go right. Good thing I wrote it down. This is why I wrote it down. But the long story short of it is that we all are here for service. And when we're not doing service, and that's why Jamie is so excited about this isn't a paid job, but just the excitement and the enthusiasm in you to do that is because that's what we are made to do. And that is at our best natural state, is to help and serve other people. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox.
Do you know that is a point in my talk I'm making? That's what I'm talking about, is literally,
oh my gosh, full circle.
Building a culture of purpose is my talk. And there's a researcher, his name is Jim Doty, and he talks about the neuroscience. He's a Stanford professor. He's a super well-known professor, and he speaks on the science in your brain when you serve, that it physically does something in your body. It releases oxytocin, you are less stressed, you're more, and then also the way that it shows up in work is that you are better, you're a better collaborator, you think outside the box, you're more creative, your brain functions better when you're in service to other people.
I love
it. It's all
okay,
great.
so this might be crazy. Okay, go ahead. No, because I was just gonna say, I think that that the Spirit is speaking, and we might just need to pivot and make this talk that talk, and this talk the next talk. And
I was gonna say, I think it's like the same talk, because she's talking about being uncomfortable, right? And what our topic for today, and anyway,
kind of sort
I'm
of,
good with both.
Right. I was gonna say, if your spirit is leading you to pivot, Core, I think you should pivot, and this could be a good practice too. You can impromptu off the fly.
Dude, I'm so prepared for this one.
Let's
do this one, and then the next one we can do that. I swear to goodness, because then I'll be coming off. But I'll be coming off my talk.
Okay.
I just practiced. That's literally a slide. That is my slide.
I was gonna say, have you met Coralyn?
No, I'm very prepared.
She's not on the fly. She's prepared.
This is, what I've told people are asking me. I literally was at a symphony on the park with my mother-in-law yesterday, and it's just there's 200 people, and they do a free symphony concert. Anyways, it ran into one of my coworkers' wives who listens to us. She's like, "Oh, tell me about how your podcast is doing." She's ask me questions, and I feel like this podcast does a lot of great things, but for me personally, it forces me to talk out of the unprepared land, right? You always throw a random question at me or whatever, trying to think extemporaneously where I'm not have all of my points all scripted out. So it's good for life.
You denied it.
I shut it.
Jamie,
I shut it down.
I lose all my work.
I shut it down.
No, literally, I don't need to throw any one of us under the bus, but I've literally prepared for this conversation 4 different times for the record.
And anyway, okay, let's just go where we're
just kidding. I really haven't. I just haven't all written.
Since you were sharing testimonies, so I'll share one too, because we're always talking about how it's just amazing how the people who listen versus not. I always tell this story of I was at my grandparents. I say grandparents because one died, and then the next month the other died. But I had family come up to me. One of my cousins was like, "Oh my God, my wife, Michelle, she loves your podcast." And I'm like, "What?" Never in a million years. My uncle remarried, and so my aunt is I don't know, she's got to be in her 70s. Never in a million years. She's like, "Oh, girl, I love your," and I'm like, so it always surprises us, and I am so grateful for our listeners. But we all have these small circle of close friends, and the joke amongst us, right, is how these jokers do not listen to our podcast. I guess they feel like they have enough of us. They know everything. They don't need to listen.
We already know what they're going to say.
I was so pleasantly surprised because I did get a call this past last weekend from my very small, close circle of friends. And she shared something with me that just touched my heart. She said she was having a rough weekend, bad morning. Everything was like a shit show. And she's like, and you know that episode where you're talking about your crazy brother? And I guess it was from her perspective, she knows him too. So it was like, and you know, you were talking about how he does that thing where he looks someone in the eye at the end of the interaction and says, "Thank you for coming to work today." She said, I really thought about that. And I was thinking about that while I was in my mood. And I go in the store. She's like, I get what I need. And I did that. And she's like, and the girl's eyes, her face, she goes, I cannot describe the joy and the appreciation, the gratitude that was on her face. She goes, everything I was carrying was just gone. I walked out of there and I was just like, I am good. She goes, I just had to call you and tell you, thank you. You guys are making a difference. You made a difference for me today, and you made a difference for that girl in the grocery store. And I just thought that was very cool. And then yesterday I thought about it, and I took the kids to, I don't know where it was, Wendy's or whatever, but I'm walking out the door and I happened to look over my shoulder and I saw them. Appeared to be the manager, but she just had this look on her face, like, you know, what we call snake face. I mean, she was just like, and I just backed up and I was like, excuse me, ma'am. And then she's looking at me like, what the hell do you want? Like, right. Yeah. And I said, I just want to tell you, thank you for coming to work today. Her same thing, Rosemary, or my friend said, she said, what? She goes, thank you so much. I mean, like,
are you serious?
Yes. Like, I just handed her this gift. And so anyway,
it's a thing.
I feel like that's got to be a movement. We've got to like have something like, just let's like commit to trying that this week or next week, and like
put something out on social media and get people to do it.
I want to hear the
my
response.
Crazy ass brother. He don't know what he started, but yeah. So anyway, I just thought that was really cool, and I'm gonna let you take it. But thank you so much for the listeners, for the feedback, for the support, for sharing. I just say if one person make a difference in one person one day, then all the work of showing up here, because